Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending upon the time zone you are joining in. My name is Anand Prakash, Director at GI4QC Forum. It's my pleasure and privilege to welcome you all in today's session where we have a very interesting topic for discussion, and we have Mr. Ghosh with us who will be walking us through this particular topic. Before we formally start the session, let me reiterate the vision and mission of GI4QC Forum, which came into existence informally 3+ years ago. And for last 2 years plus, this is formally registered as Section 8 company under Indian Companies Act. There's some background noise coming in. Others can please go on mute. Uh, so GI4QC Forum started with a vision to rediscover and apply the elements of ancient knowledge systems to resolve the existing mysteries of science and nature. The mission which we identified for this forum was fourfold. First, conduct innovative cutting edge experiments to ascertain the potential impact of the observer's conscious intent on the observed outcome. The second, develop spin-off technologies which enhance the happiness index of the individuals as well as the society and are also aligned with the United Nations sustainability goals. The third mission statement is highlight and publish the credible evidence-based results of the research and study projects. And last but not the least, make GI4QC Forum the most respected and valued networked association known for unhindered exchange of ideas. This monthly session started in January 2023. So we are almost completing 2 years. Last year, we also decided to come up with a journal called International Journal on Eternal Wisdom and Contemporary Science. So this journal, the first edition was launched on 21st of June this year. And the second edition of this journal is scheduled to be published in December this year. With this, let me come back to today's topic and today's speaker. So today's speaker, as we know, we have Mr. Goutam Ghosh. Goutam Ghosh is currently based in Bangalore. He has done his master's in physics. He has done his PG Diploma in computer applications. And later on, as his journey was in the consciousness studies, he also did his postgraduate diploma in Yogic Studies. He has the interest for study of consciousness right from his university days, and he continued his passion throughout his professional career to the extent that he took early retirement from his professional journey and now devoting most of his time to his passion of this consciousness studies. Because of that effort, he has been able to share with the world the work which he has done in the form of models of brain and minds, various conferences like Models of Brains and Minds, World Congress on Psychology and Spirituality, Science of Consciousness. So he has shared his views, and I think recently he also shared his views in a conference which are done by Vedantic Society very recently, right, on 9th of November itself in Bangalore.
Bhakti
Bangalore.
Vedanta.
Bhakti Vedanta Center, yes. They are celebrating their 50 years Golden Jubilee celebration. In fact, last Sunday they had organized a session from a Nobel laureate. So I had also attended that session. So as the topic is Vedantic perspective, on reverse hard problem. We all know about hard problem of consciousness, which is being talked by many philosophers, many scientists, many other experts in this area, and a lot of work is being done that how the consciousness can be derived from materiality. But here we are going to listen to from Goutam Ghosh the other way around, and that is why it is called reverse hard problem, or I may call it as a hard problem of matter, or I may call it as deriving materiality from consciousness. So I would request Gautam to kindly walk us through the work which you have done. So we would like to first listen to your work and then we will request members to comment or share on that. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, your screen is visible. You can go ahead. Your screen is visible. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So as it is seen, the title of my presentation is Vedantic Perspective on Solving the Reverse Heart Problem, Deriving Materiality from Consciousness. I have tried to integrate ideas from diverse sources, and my interpretations may not exactly be as has been intended with the original texts. My attempt is to see whether there are any linkages between our ancient concepts of evolution of materiality with modern science. Let us explore it together. I will make the presentation in 4 sections: introduction, description of the 4-layered framework, applications, and the conclusion. So, what is the heart problem? The heart problem of consciousness has been coined by David Chalmers. Most of you must be knowing that, still I am repeating for the sake of introduction. How do conscious experience arise? When we perceive or think, there is an information processing in the brain, but there is also a subjective conscious experience. How do the information processing in the brain gives rise to conscious experience? It is hard because even if we have explained all the functions of the brain, it does not explain how we experience a subjective feeling. There are many theories, however, no consensus has emerged in the scientific community. In the second case, case B, we take a reverse stand. Does matter emerges from consciousness? This can be called the reverse heart problem or the heart problem of matter. If we take any of the roots, matter to consciousness or consciousness to matter, and propose a consistent theory, then we have solved the mystery. In these theories, the main idea is that sufficient complexities of the neuronal world causes consciousness to emerge. There are other sets of theories, apart from purely materialistic, where some deeper layers of reality have been suggested from the matter, apart from matter. Some of the theories are highly mathematical, but what is striking is that these theories propose some new layers in addition to the material. For example, David Chalmers proposed experience itself to be the extra ingredient. Just let me take the pen. Okay. David Chalmers. Roger Penrose had already proposed a 3-world model, where in addition to the physical, we have mental and the Platonic world of mathematical forms. Then Stuart Hameroff, teaming up with Roger Penrose, in addition to the 3 worlds, added a new one, that of proto-consciousness, lacking cognition and meaningful content existing at the Planck scale spacetime geometry. Then Tononi's integrated information theory defines a cause-effect space. Donald Hoffman defines the concept of conscious agent, and from their dynamics, materiality evolves. Then we have Philip Goff, who suggests that the universe is conscious and has agentic function. These layered approaches prompted me to investigate in more detail some of the Vedantic books that I was going through, which provided a wider layered approach to explain the heart problem from the other side. As I stated earlier, Vedantic philosophy had extensively analyzed the deeper layers of reality. We find that Mandukya Upanishad, one of the most important texts of Vedanta philosophy, has given an outline of a four-layered system of reality. Based on Mandukya Upanishad and other related texts, a structured four-layered framework of reality is presented here. The framework with other applications provides the method for deriving materiality from consciousness, a solution to the hard problem. This is a simplified picture of the layered framework that I have conceptualized from Mandukya Upanishad and other related texts. The rectangular and circular shapes, colors are purely hypothetical. They have been used to present a framework. The outermost layer of Brahman, or the universal consciousness, this is the outermost layer. Inner to that is the layer of Ishvara and Maya, this one. The blue rectangle represents the Hiranyagarbha, or the cosmic mind, and the green rectangle represents the physical universe. This is the macrocosm. The circular figures represent the jiva, the individual living being. The outer circle represents the physical body. Inner blue circle represents the subtle body, including the mind. And the white circle represents the individual consciousness. You can see the individual mind and cosmic mind are connected, this blue connection. Similarly, the individual consciousness and the universal consciousness are also connected, this white connection. You can have a close look at the figure because my sequence of explanations will be as per these layers. As discussed in previous slide, there is a direct relation between the macrocosm and the microcosm, except in the fundamental layer where everything is just one. The first layer is the Brahman. Second layer in macrocosm is Ishvara and Maya. In microcosm, Jiva. Similarly, third layer is Hiranyagarbha and the individual subtle body. Fourth layer is the physical universe and the physical body. The first or fundamental layer is Brahman. Qualities of the layer from our frame of reference of understanding are beingness, consciousness, bliss, supreme self, innermost core or substrate of every self, plenum, complete in itself, perfectly undifferentiated, infinite and eternal, beyond space and time and causation, transcendent and immanent. The second layer is the creative aspect of the first layer. The first layer apparently changes into a sense of agency at the universal level, the Ishvara, and its power of creation, as well as the source of the phenomenal world. Pure subjectivity apparently changes into a single universal subject with absolute creative power and a source or field of the manifested world. This power, as well as source, is known as Maya in Vedanta. Further, Maya is stated to be composed of three components: Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Collectively, they are called gunas. The creative power of Maya expresses itself through these three components. The three gunas are not qualities of Maya, but they are its constituents. They are compared to the three strands of the rope of Maya. In the unmanifested state, all these strands remain in equilibrium. It is stated that manifestation of world process is initiated when this equilibrium gets disturbed. Swami Vivekananda in Raja Yoga explains the process very clearly. And he also specifies the qualities of the three components. Nature before creation is called by them avyakta, undefined or indistinct. That is, in which there is no distinction of form or name, a state in which their three materials are held in perfect balance. Then the balance is disturbed the three materials begin to mingle in various fashions, and the result is the universe. In every man also, these three materials exist. When sattva material prevails, knowledge comes. When rajas, activity. When tamas, darkness and lassitude, idleness and ignorance. Brajendranath Seal, in his book, The Positive Sciences of the Ancient Hindus, has given a definition of the three components which nearly matches with the concepts in physics. First, sattva, the essence which manifests itself in a phenomenon. This is his definition, and which is characterized by this tendency to manifestation, the essence. In other words, which serves as the medium for the reflection of intelligence. Two, rajas, energy, that which is efficient in a phenomenon and is characterized by a tendency to do work or overcome resistance. And third, tamas, mass or inertia, which counteracts the tendency of rajas to do work, and sattva to consist manifestation. This is a very interesting book. I have quoted liberally from this book, The Positive Sciences of the Ancient Hindus. It was written in around 1915. We can summarize as follows. Sattva, medium of reflection of intelligence. Tamas, inertia. Rajas, energy. Now it is very interesting to note that physics explained the physical world in terms of matter and energy, whereas Vedanta and other related philosophies have taken mental medium, sattva, in addition to matter and energy. So the emergence of mental quality as well as physicality can be simultaneously explained. Now we move on to the third layer. Tanmatras are the basic building blocks by which the third and fourth layers are built up. The world around us is cognized by the five senses, and the physical world has been categorized on the basis of that quality of the physical material that stimulates or appeals to its senses. Each element is a potential sense stimuli. Some potential physical nature is also associated with these elements. Here the term potential is used in a sense that these elements at this stage don't have sense stimuli or physical nature, but after some further processes, these qualities emerge. They act as the subtle precursors of both the sensory experience as well as the physical elements. The process of creation of tanmatras has been extensively dealt with by Brajendranath Seal in his book, The Positive Sciences of the Ancient Hindus. Here, the first tanmatra is created by action of rajas on tamas. Vibration potential is created. With accretion of tamas on vibration potential and acted on by rajas, we have impact potential. With accretion of tamas on impact potential and acted by rajas, light and heat potential. Similarly, potential of viscous attraction and potential of cohesive attraction. These terms have been used by Brajendranath Seal, and these are our usual terms that we know: sound, touch stimulus, sight stimulus, taste and smell. Now we get some details of the cosmic subtle body as the third layer. The cosmic structure at the third layer is called Hiranyagarbha, and it is a combination of cosmic mind and cosmic energy. Cosmic mind of Hiranyagarbha is stated to be the holder of cosmic blueprint or the ideation of the universe. In Panchadasi, which is a great treatise on Advaita Vedanta, we get a clear hint to this blueprint aspect of Hiranyagarbha. The creation process has been compared in this treatise to the 4 stages of painting of a picture. At first, we should have a white cloth or canvas, and similarly for creation to proceed, we need to have an unchanging background, the Brahman. The canvas should have to be straightened or stretched Similarly, the Brahman, the unchanging background, gets stiffened, and we have the creative will of Ishvara in the second stage. In the third stage, the artist draws an outline of the painting on the canvas. Similarly, in the act of creation, the cosmic mind or the Hiranyagarbha is the cosmic blueprint of the universe that helps manifest the universe. In the fourth stage, the lines are filled with color, and we have the final painting. Similarly, the universe is created with all diversity and splendor. There is a beautiful definition of Vivekananda regarding these concepts. In the universe, Brahma or Hiranyagarbha is the cosmic Mahat, first manifested himself as name, then as form, as this universe. All this expressed sensible universe is the form behind which stands the eternal, inexpressible sphota, the manifested as logos or word. This eternal sphota, the essential eternal material of all ideas or names, is the power through which Lord creates the universe. Nay, the Lord first becomes conditioned as sphota and then evolves out as yet more concrete sensible universe. This sphota has one word as its only possible symbol and is called the Om. Now, Hiranyagarbha is also associated with cosmic energy. In many texts, we find the references, and Vivekananda has also said that this cosmic energy, according to Vivekananda, is behind all types of forces acting on the physical world. We have discussed the macrocosm at the third layer. The third layer is also consists the subtle body of Jiva, the living being, the microcosm. The veiling power of Maya limits the universal consciousness, and Jiva is created with subtle and gross body. There is also a reflection theory which says that universal consciousness gets reflected in the Vijnanamaya Kosha and the result is individual consciousness. There are several other theories about it. Vedanta says the subtle body of Jiva has 17 components. Their creations are as follows. Buddhi, including Chitta, Manas, including Ahankara, and 5 organs of perception. They are all created from Sattva components of the 5 elements. And 5 organs of action, 5 pranas, are all created from the Rajas component. Note that Sattva components of the 5 elements create the units related to perception, whereas action-related units are created by Rajas components. Now we move to the fourth layer. Origination of materiality involves all the 3 layers. In the second layer, the 3 components of Maya interact while tamas, inertia, is predominant. We have the subtle elements are created. Then the 3 components of the subtle elements interact, and while tamas is predominant, gross elements and the physical world are created. A brief analysis of creation of subtle elements from the interaction of sattva, rajas, and tamas has been given earlier. How the subtle elements create the gross elements, we will see in the next slide. One such theory of creation of gross elements from subtle elements is called the Panchikarana process, mentioned by Sri Shankaracharya and later explained in detail by Sri Suveshwaracharya. If you see, it is quite complicated, but overall it is gross element 1. That is first, any one element you consider. It is created when half of subtle element of the same element is added with 1/8 of subtle element 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For example, gross element of Akasha is created when half part of subtle element Akasha is mixed with 1/8 part of each of the rest of the 4 elements. However, how far it correlates with physics has to be researched. The ratios might represent some harmonics of vibrations, but we don't know. Although the creation of gross elements from subtle elements is not clear, but the evolution of the universe matches the sequence of the gross elements. Brajendranath Seal, Sri Aurobindo, Swami Vivekananda all have similar expressions. They have used similar expressions. If we follow Brajendranath Seal's terms, first we have Akasha, which is ubiquitous and all-enveloping medium. Then Vayu, which by aggregation formed a gaseous envelope. Tejas, which by aggregation enveloped the gaseous world in huge flames. Up, the flaming gases were thus precipitated into cosmic masses of viscous fluids. Prithvi, thus the viscous fluid matters were condensed and transformed into Adbhuta. So all five elements, their sequence is similar to the creation of the universe. Sri Aurobindo has also used the similar terms here: impinging of force upon force, light, electricity, fire, heat, attraction, repulsion, cohesion. And Vivekananda has also used the similar nature of terms. So this is the complete picture. This is the summary of all previous slides and shows the complete picture of the four-layered framework. The four layers have been given different colors so that they are identified easily. The first layer apparently changes into Ishvara and a sense of agency and its power of Maya. These two. Maya has three components: Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. They interact among themselves, and when Tamas is predominant, the five elements, Tanmatras, are sequentially created. This is column 5. The three components, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, reappear in five elements. They reappear. Column 6. The Sattva components create the perception units. These three, these intellect, mind, organs of perception. Column 7. The Rajas components create the dynamic units of the subtle body, organs of action, vital forces, that is 5 prana. Whereas when Tamas is predominant, the physical universe and the physical body in the fourth layer are created. Here you can see this blue line. It depicts the process of universal consciousness getting limited or reflected in the intellect component of the subtle body, and we get the individual consciousness of Jiva. So it is clear, I think. First layer, this is second layer, this thing is third layer, and this is the fourth layer. This slide ends the descriptions of the four-layered framework, and from next slide, we will see the applications of this framework. Well, this slide is just a copy of the previous slide, and as it is clear, it provides a framework for solution to the reverse heart problem. The first and the main application of the model. The first column represents the universal consciousness, whereas the last column is the physical universe and the physical body. And the whole process of creation of materiality is shown in between this way. Here it is needless to mention that Vedanta considers both mind and physical body as jad, material. So from consciousness, we get the physical body and the physical universe, the reverse heart problem. This slide and next 2-3 slides shows the correspondence of the layers of the four-layered framework with different layer structures of some prominent theories of consciousness. Chalmers' experience here corresponds to the individual mind. Roger Penrose's Platonic world corresponds to the cosmic mind. Because we have identified cosmic mind as having the blueprint of the universe. Platonic world of Roger Penrose is also similar. Penrose Hameroff model, OR model, they have introduced a proto-consciousness, which is lacking cognition and meaningful content. This is their term. and that exists at the Planck scale spacetime geometry. So it is also somewhat physical. Comparing with Donald Hoffman's theory, consciousness is fundamental matter derivative for both. Conscious agent in Hoffman model perceives, decides, acts. In our four-layered framework also, Jiva perceives, decides, and acts through Vigyanmaya, Manomaya, and Pranamaya Kusha. Interactions of conscious agents create the experience, but in your four-layered framework, interactions of three components, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, create the experienced forms. In Philip Goff's model, universe is conscious, having fundamental mind and has agentive function. In our four-layered framework, Hiranyagarbha, or the cosmic mind, encompasses the physical world, and Ishvara and with Maya encompasses the Hiranyagarbha. Both Ishvara and Hiranyagarbha has agentive functions. This is the third application of the four-layered framework. Its consonance with existing laws of nature. These are suggestions for further research. I don't claim that there is a direct correlation. First is framework for a unified theory. Attempts at a unified theory involving matter, energy, space, time, combining quantum theory, general relativity is ongoing. However, Stephen Hawking, in A Brief History of Time, says a complete, consistent, unified theory is only the first step. Our goal is a complete understanding of the events around us and our own existence. In that sense, the universal consciousness with pure subjectivity from which emerge the creative components of tamas, rajas, and sattva, that in turn create the various forms, mental as well as physical, could be the unifying ground for a common theory involving both subjectivity and the objective world. The concepts of rajas and tamas could correlate with dark energy and dark matter. Dark energy is theorized to be responsible for the expansion of the universe, galaxies away from each other at an accelerating rate. This constant outward push resembles the active dynamic quality of rajas, which drives movement and transformation. Just as rajas drives passion and activity, dark energy drives cosmic expansion. Dark matter, on the other hand, is thought to make up the missing mass of the universe and holds galaxies together through its gravitational influence, despite being invisible. This stable grounding role echoes the quality of tamas, which brings inertia and structure to things. In string theory, the basic building blocks of matter are not point-like particles, but very small, one-dimensional, vibrating strings of energy, which have length but no other dimension. They are composed of highly concentrated mass energy, which vibrate like strings of a musical instrument, and each vibrational mode generates a particle. Similarly, the vibrations and interactions of the three components, sattva, rajas, and tamas, create the tanmatras, cosmic mind, individual mind, physical world. These processes are similar to vibrations creating different forms. The concept of tanmatras can be compared to the idea of quantum fields. Both describe fundamental subtle realities underlying the manifest world. Both frameworks emphasize subtle vibrations. Both get transformed from subtle to gross materiality. Tanmatras are precursors to sense stimuli. Quantum particles and quantum vibrations also mediating some sense perceptions. Creation of particle in both quantum field theory and tanmatra undergo similar process. Not similar, but somewhat matching. In quantum theory, quantum field theory, we know that particles are manifestations of excitations in quantum fields. Gross elements are also a result of interactions of subtle elements. However, we do not know exactly what these ratios, half, 1/8, represent. Although the creation of gross elements from subtle elements is not clear, But the evolution of universe matches the sequence of the gross elements that I have dealt before. Summarizing the creation process described earlier, we can say that initially there is a vibration. Represented by Shabd. Then vibration causes friction. Second, the friction gives rise to heat and light. The heat of the third stage cools down and we have liquefaction and get the fluid matter. Finally, we have the solidification of the fluid state. It is the state represented by Prithvi, solid. This is very interesting. In quantum mechanics, the process of measurement collapses the wave function and finiteness appears. In Indian philosophy, we find several instances where it is stated that measurement of infinite causes finiteness to appear. The concept of Maya is closely associated with measurement. Maya's etymological meaning is that which measures everything, that which apparently confines the infinite absolute reality within the limitations of space-time causation and makes it appear manifold, finite, and measurable through the senses of mind by its three gunas of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So how much time do I have? This is the last application.
Yeah, you can go ahead, please. Yeah, I think let's logically conclude. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the last application.
Yeah.
Currently, there is a big debate about whether advancement of AI systems can result into conscious machines or not. The framework that is being discussed here may provide a clear picture about it. This picture above is the same picture that was discussed in the beginning of the presentation. I have added just two items here. In the top left corner of the blue rectangle area, I have added two circles representing a machine with a hardware and software that implements the AI system. Second, that I have added is the yellow dashed line, this whole dashed line, that represents the boundary of space and time. We have many references in Vedantic texts that say that universal consciousness is beyond the boundaries of space and time and exists in a non-dual zone. This implies that consciousness is eternal, infinite, undifferentiated, it is unchanging, and non-quantitative. Roger Penrose's notion of non-algorithmic, non-computational nature of consciousness is also very similar to the above idea. Any machine within space-time boundary cannot access what is beyond the boundary. Moreover, it cannot capture the unchanging and undifferentiated essence of consciousness with its algorithm and computational process. To conclude, the framework presents an integrated picture of consciousness, mind, and matter. It helps in understanding the process of evolution of materiality from consciousness. It has similarities with some of the layer structure of some prominent theories of consciousness. Some of the inherent processes of this framework are in consonance with existing laws of nature. This ends my presentation. As they say, the world is an illusion, but that illusion has a consistency and a structure. My intention was to find out how our ancient rishis had cognized and explained that structure so neatly without any mathematical or physical tools, but going to a deep meditative state and touching the reality, that is knowing by being. I have covered a vast array of subjects and I may have inferred something incorrectly, so you are most welcome to rectify it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I think it was spellbound. And you have touched so many areas. I think people are just sinking in with the concepts you have brought in. And this talks of the wide depth of work which you have done. So let me have the floor open to the guests to share their reflections or observations or query.
Yes.
Either way, it is open. anyone can take the lead. You can unmute and ask the question. There is no, yeah, Vinod Kulkarni
Yeah,
ji, as obvious. Yeah.
yeah. So, Gautam, this is like, very nicely well laid out. I think it's like that Kashmir Shaivism is very difficult to understand for many people. I think you have really simplified it, the
Okay.
whole Tanmatras and other things.
Thank
And
you.
as you rightly pointed out, I think you have represented what is currently understandable in that and what is not mappable to science. I think you have very clearly brought out. It's very good work, actually.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Thank
Now,
you.
I just wanted to ask you, like, that hard problem of consciousness, right? The way it is typically defined, it's a thing defined is that, like, there is no way to know that there is consciousness. Though we are all conscious, no machine can ever evaluate the consciousness because there's no way to know. That is why it is a hard problem of consciousness, because other problem of consciousness like vision and all, very easy. I mean, they are actually, though they are also hard, but they are doable ultimately, and that's what AI also has shown that they are doable and all that. Okay, so how do you map the hard aspect here to this particular presentation that you have done? Uh, so what is that, that how to map it, like basically what is the hard here when you are presenting this particular work?
Hard is the sense of being, sense of ourself, how we perceive the world. This could be the hard problem. Sense of being me, Sat, Chit, and Ananda. I exist, I know, I feel. These things, this purely first person approach. It's very difficult. I don't know whether you are conscious or not. That is also an issue. That is called a zombie problem, coined by David Chalmers. It is very difficult. I am conscious, but whether you are conscious or not, whether you are a machine, I don't know. So it is vague, but I define it as a Satchit Anand. Sat exists, I exist, sense of existence. I am aware, I feel. This may be the hard problem or the definition of consciousness that is not reproducible by any algorithm or machines.
Okay, good. I think it is still hard to appreciate the hardness of this hard problem. So we'll carry on this further. Let's hear some more comments from Chandraji. You want to make some comment? Yeah, you can unmute and.
Yeah, sure. Very fascinating subject and discussion, Gautam ji. Beautiful, beautiful explanations.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Uh, so one of the things I was kind of wondering actually when I was coming here into nature here, like I said, I'm immersed in Columbus, Ohio, in the material consciousness, which is a physical layer, Prakriti.
Okay.
So the real challenging problem is really, of course, this is from this Prakriti and our own individual consciousness. How do you go back into the universal consciousness or the samadhi state? Is there a way to reverse this from, connect back to, like samadhi they talk, right? I mean, is there some technique that can be derived from this flow? I mean, this is more practical. Yeah.
As I have
So
defined,
anybody in the group can answer that if they have any
yes,
insight. Yeah.
I have the first picture you have seen. I have mentioned the white line that connects the individual consciousness with the universal, and there are many processes, yoga and all that, many
Sure.
processes that can be used to achieve that. They are achievable because how do you explain this statement? I am Brahmas. Aham Brahmasmi or Soham.
Right.
How do you explain this? Because it is achievable. We don't know the method, but some technology is there, some methodology is there.
Right. Well, if I'm just relating to what I was just thinking when I got into this. So this, because the whole thing came from the super consciousness, universal consciousness. So, and our people say that if you block the external stimuli and then focus internally, antarmukhatvam, as they call Vedantins call antarmukhatvam. So it's kind of like a river flowing into the ocean. So the river is the life and our experiences, sensual experiences, whatnot. And then if you somehow block that through yoga or other means, and then somehow focus automatically, I think it will flow into the ocean to super consciousness. I mean, I just a notion that came to me, and I just wanted to
Yeah, yeah,
discuss that with the enlightened group here.
Very correct. So
Yeah,
I think there are various methods as our rishis and munis have experienced it and also demonstrated. Like for Ashtanga Yoga is one of that approach, and many other methodology. But the point here is the first of all believing in this particular aspect that yes, there is
yeah,
a connect, because
yeah,
this model demonstrates that there is a connection, because our mind is the basic bottleneck. If the mind doesn't believe that there is a connect, I will not make an attempt to go onto that path. So this model demonstrates that there is a connect, rather that's the only connect. And that's where this reverse hard problem, that did the consciousness came from matter or matter came from consciousness. If matter came from consciousness, then if I can see the matter, then the consciousness existence is beyond question accepted. But if i
well,
if i say that consciousness came from matter, then it is always a question mark, because matter only I have seen.
right. Well, the in Brahma Sutra Bhashyas, they say that because the matter is finite, and so the finite cannot and perishable. So therefore, it comes from a infinite, which is unperishable, and has that is a super consciousness. I mean, that's a logic they use actually, similar logic. So there is, the consciousness, super consciousness created different layers of consciousness as individual consciousness, and through that consciousness, the whole universe is created, are seen, perceived. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And also, if you go through the quantum that Gautamji talking about and all those things, and Einstein said that matter and energy are equivalent, E equals mc square. And so
Yes.
matter and energy is equivalent, and matter and energy together, because they're equivalent, they're same. And then nothing can be created something cannot be created from nothing. This is also logic Brahmasutra Bhashya uses. Nothing, either energy or matter cannot be created from nothing. And that something is the super consciousness, because everything is created from that. That's what our people say, or rishis or Vedanta. So I think the phenomena of actually how consciousness, the universal consciousness or even individual consciousness is manifest itself, I think is probably through quantum phenomena, because neural networks is more of a physical layer, but the consciousness is a learned and trained and then evolved component, you know. So I think that probably happens at the level of the quantum physics. And also, I think these vibrations and string theory and that Gautamji referred, I think. Anyway, just some random thoughts. Yeah. Okay.
No, very
Very good.
interesting.
Very good.
No, very,
Very
very,
good.
very interesting. Very interesting aspect you have brought in, and that's where when he talked about this rajas, tamas, and sat, raj, tam. Effectively, it goes back to when we say there are para prakriti and apara prakriti, right? So para prakriti is what we are talking about. This beyond physical thing, and apara is what is your physical part. This whole physical part is consisting of sat, raj, and tam. And I think very beautifully you explained how from these three interactions happened, and then the matter got created, akash got created, and then your vayu got created, then agni got created, then your jal got created, and then finally earth got created. I think that was a beautiful presentation, because at least in the physical world we all have accepted that the five basic elements people can see, feel, and experience, right? Now if we are able to say that these five elements themselves have got created like this, that's a very beautiful depiction. At least I like depiction.
And not only that, also the consciousness itself is created, our individual
Yes,
consciousness.
yes.
from the
Yes.
composition. So I think the whole the consciousness has basically Sat Chit Ananda, three components,
Yes.
and those components, when they manifest into the universe material or even chitta or consciousness, different layers, of this whole spectrum, is basically a composition of this rearranging these component matters of Satchitanand. And that
Yes.
takes expression in the form of mind, body, subtle bodies, consciousness itself, individual, and even layers of super consciousness like Ishvara, Maya.
Right. Right. Good. Good. I think
Anyway,
good. Let me hear some more views. Ranbir ji, Sinha ji, you have any comment to say? Ranbir
Sorry,
ji
I
or
joined late. I had
yeah.
some situation, so I didn't hear the entire thing. My only question would be, will this presentation be available on YouTube or on the website somewhere? If you can send us
Uh,
the link, that will be great.
yeah. Let me ask Gautam ji. Will you be sharing this presentation with the GI4QC? Then we can share it with our members.
It can be shared, but you are also creating the video, no?
Yeah. Yeah. We are creating the video.
Video is
That will
good
be
enough.
accessible. Yeah.
Okay, once
We
you
will
create the
record the
video, I will
session.
send the presentation.
Sure. We
Thank
have
you very
recorded
much.
the session.
Thank you. I caught only the last part. It was really fantastic. I mean, it's way beyond me. So, as a student, I'll first learn, then talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Parida
Thank you.
ji, you have any comment? Or,
I have one question.
yeah,
Namaste.
Narsimha ji. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I see that matter has been emerged from the Brahma, the super consciousness. And where do you see the Devata aspect in this creation part? The
No,
Devata.
okay, no, I have left out that. My only intention to see how consciousness emerges into matter. So my focus was direct.
Okay. In that
That
case,
can be that can be that cosmic aspect, cosmic mind aspect, that blueprint.
Mhm.
Mantras are various manifestations of that devtas. So that can be there in Hiranyagarbha, that
Okay.
cosmic mind. Might be, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There
And
might be
also,
some correlations.
when you see matter emerging from the consciousness, do you see that matter having consciousness since it has emerged from consciousness?
Well, difficult to say. It depends on the interpretation, how you say it. You just say that is depending upon the consciousness definition of consciousness, how you define that.
So how we define
Because if
consciousness?
you same thing that Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff they have said, proto consciousness, lacking meaning and meaningful content existing at this Planck scale space-time geometry. That is very difficult to understand what it is. So in that sense, it is there in matter. But
Oh,
the
we're all,
sense of me, that is, I don't think it is there.
and also we ourselves, like we call ourselves as conscious beings, and we also emerge from those five elements only, panchabhutas. Uh, so how do you see, like, we got consciousness and how there is no consciousness to the panchabhutas matter?
Okay. No, Panchabhutas created separately, and ourselves, our individual consciousness, there is a reflection theory that universal consciousness got reflected in the intellect component of the subtle body.
Okay.
It's so
So
correct. I demonstrated the blue line that is totally different from these evolutions.
okay, it's like in matter, consciousness reflecting inside the matter.
Yeah, consciousness is reflecting inside the intellect, Vijnanmaya kosha or intellect, then individual consciousness is created. Either it is reflection or it is a limitation. There are various theories. But it
Okay.
is generally it is said that it is reflected in the intellect component or the Vijnanmaya kosha. That is material. Reflecting medium is material. But what
Oh,
is reflected?
reflecting medium is intellect. You're saying is material,
Yes, that
and
is
in
stated
the
from Tanmatra.
okay,
Mind as a whole is jad in our Vedantic system
Correct.
that I
okay,
referred previously.
okay. From Panchabhutas, mind has one of the element is mind, one that came out, and in that the universal consciousness has
Yes,
reflected itself.
yes. That is
Oh,
the view as per Vedantic text.
oh, okay. Thank you.
We can take one or two more comment. Yeah, Sudarshan ji has raised the hand. Yeah, go ahead.
Gautamji, thank you for this enlightening session. And you beautifully, explained and put everything in such a schematic view. It's so easy to grasp. My questions are related to the line which you just mentioned, coming from consciousness, the blue line, and
Yes.
of sattva, rajas, and tamas taking shape from the consciousness. Just few linking things is what I want you to clarify.
Yes.
One is that when we are doing this entire exercise, this is more on the logical and reasoning part
Yes.
side of
Yes.
it. And consciousness uh, also has an element of emotion involved into it. And
Yes.
especially from AI point of view, emotion is what is to be generated when we take the Turing's definition about AI when it becomes fully conscious. From that perspective, if it is all logic, take a case of a child, say up to 5 years, is having emotions but does not have reasoning power. So, do we say that he is not conscious or that the consciousness occurs later on?
No,
That
no,
is
no.
one.
I have left out, as I said, consciousness involves Sat, Chit, and Ananda. I have
Correct.
left out the Ananda part in whole exercise. It
Okay.
is there.
Yeah. So, I was coming to
It
that part.
is there. It is there.
So there are instincts which already exist in the kid because there is some knowledge which already pre-exists. And if
Pre-existing.
those instincts exist, then those instincts can be related to sattva, rajas, and tamas gun, which are pre-existing. Can we
Yes.
say that the brain matter or the composition of brain as a matter, um, should that be analyzed to see as to what is the structural difference between sattva, rajas, and tamas gun, which is creating these kind of instincts, emotions, and so on and so forth, different kind of personalities? Would it
You
be possible to differentiate it on that level?
by analyzing brain, you won't find Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas.
Not on the matter part. We will
Not
not
on the
find
matter.
the impression of
Not on the
consciousness on
matter
that.
part as per the scientific definition.
Okay.
Although mind is matter as per Vedantic, but as per scientific definition, in matter, you won't find that. Sattva, Rajas,
Okay.
Tamas.
And then you have mentioned about the Platonic form, the third portion which you mentioned in the slabs. So
Yes.
Plato had two separate worlds. One was world of ideas, and another was the world of forms. So idea has to transform into a particular form. So there must be a process of conversion. Some like a factory produces something. So factory has a different setup. A material goes in and comes out in a particular shape. What would be this creation, this factory which is doing? Is this what we are referring to as super consciousness, which is maybe
No,
converting?
you are telling about the how Sattva, subtle elements are converted into the gross elements. You are telling
Yes,
about that.
yes.
Yeah, that I have asked a question myself. That is very difficult to understand in my presentation. That I have pointed out. Although there are complicated theories in, especially in that book, Prajendranath Seal, there are different theories about that. But it is quite difficult. There are theories how
But
subtle
thank you
elements.
so much, sir. You have put everything in such a nice manner. We
Thank
really and truly appreciate.
thank
You
you,
have given a very, very different viewpoint so far. Thank you so much.
thank you.
I think very important point you have touched upon that how from subtle to the gross, and that's what very beautifully said that maybe there is a lot of opportunity to experiment. If
Yes.
we can do some experimentation in that area, then nothing will be left to doubt. Because that's and the book you are referring to, I think we will take a reference from you, and maybe some of us may make a group around it and read that book further. And that mathematical formula of half of this, then one
Yes.
eighth of the other one, and one eighth of the other one. I think somebody has written a formula. Then there is a possibility of creating the lab. So before we conclude, I was just very curious, a very silly question. When you compare this, so many people, Charmer, David Charmer, XYZ name, all names are Westerners. No name, nobody from India had this problem of hard problem of consciousness.
No. I referred specifically those Western philosophers who have
Okay.
gone beyond their material concept.
Okay, because no
Indian
Indian
people,
philosopher had this problem.
no, because in Indian philosophy we start from the consciousness, so we don't
Yeah,
have.
yeah. Correct. That is what.
That's why I have not referred them.
Right.
Because Westerners, they are trying their best to come from matter to consciousness in different layers, but not succeeding.
Correct.
Different
No,
layers.
I think this is a very, very important and a critical aspect. We have to make it a movement. I think we have to reverse the problem. You have to tell the world the problem which you are trying to solve will always remain hard because it is not solvable.
Yes.
Better you change the problem which we are telling you, and then we also have a
There
solution.
might be some solution. There might be some solution.
Good. Wonderful. Excellent. Anil sir, would you like to say a word of thanks? And then we conclude today's session. Anil sir, are you there? Yeah, over to you. Kindly conclude the session, unmute, and word of thanks. Yeah.
Uh, Gautam sir, this was one of the very enterprising session we had
Thank you.
in recent past, and I enjoyed it. And from the question answer, what I could see, everybody has got into the subject thoroughly, and they wanted to understand and also reflect within their own consciousness whether they can propagate your theory to others. Thank you, and we will definitely like to have your presentation for all the public in our group, so that they can also enjoy in absentia, because some of them couldn't really join it for various reasons, but they definitely appreciate it. So on behalf of all of us, I thank you, the vote of thanks to you for such an enlightened subject.